What's up? Huh? What's going on? Hey, Chase. You're not supposed to jump on me. Silly bud. You smiling? Are you smiling? Let's see you smile. Yeah, he's smiling. Well, unfortunately, something really bad went wrong with this Jeep. Uh-oh. Playtime. Get him. Get that guy. Get Chase. Get him. Go show him, Chase. I gotta check to see if you blew a head gasket or blew a motor. Alright, well let's time lapse, see how fast I can get this thing taken off. Let's find out if this thing's got any fluid inside of it. When I smelt the what was coming out of this connection here for the radiator, it just didn't smell right. Like could be fuel in it or something. Well, that's good. I don't think anything came out of it. Well, before I put those plugs back in, which these all need to be replaced, these things are really, really in bad shape. I'm going to do a compression test on it. See how it looks. I got a high dollar horrible freight version. Ready? Yeah. Go ahead. Okay. 60. Oh yeah, we had this thing rebuilt. We had it rebuilt. Go ahead. Stop. Almost 90. 120. Almost 120. Almost 120. So there's a good chance that the head gasket's blown on these first three, but there were no fluid in it. I don't know if it just drained out because it's been sitting here, or if those three just have no compression. Either way, it's not good. Those are only in the 90s. It's not good, so I'm gonna have to tear it down more to see. Okay, honey. Now, that's all I needed. I really don't know exactly what it is until I pull the head, because there's not any compression to speak of in the first three cylinders. I might have to pressure test the first three cylinders. I think if I put air in there, I'm going to hear air coming out. It doesn't make sense for the last three cylinders to be in good shape and the first three are low unless the head gasket is blown.
And where's that on the bottom?
No, it's up here, but this comes off and then this comes off. Pretty much that whole side of the engine over there is going to be has to be stripped down. Like this is a major job that it's going to take days to do for me.
They didn't rebuild nothing on this car.
Yeah, I don't know. That cop that sold it to us is not the most honest person.
Probably not even a real cop.
Might have been a mall cop.
Yeah, Paul Blart.
Second cylinder is the one that's leaking, because I can turn the motor. Most likely the second one blew it, but most likely we've got a blown head gasket on cylinder. I'm just gonna call it 2. I can't see any markings because it's too filthy. Second cylinder from the front. Is that better? Yeah, it's got a blown head gasket.
For sure.
Or a hole in the piston or something. We had to clean up a spot because, well, this is where I work on stuff when I don't want it to get too dirty, because I don't have my shop built yet. That's something I'm working on, but it's really slow going. I'm going to pressure wash this before we bring it in, because it's just, look at this. Oh, it hadn't rained in a while, so this has been like this for quite some time. So I think I got it about as clean as I want to get it. Yeah, so that step's done. I got to let it dry, and then I'm going to push it in here. I think he blew all of his transmission fluid out because there was so much pressure going into this radiator. He could have blown the radiator too. He blew this line off the radiator, which shouldn't just blow off. So I don't know. There could be a lot more going on here than what I can tell. Look at these babies. We're in the garage. We're about to work on stuff, aren't we, Chase? Huh. This is a 2000 model Jeep with a 4.0. Generally really good engines. For sure it's older and my kid likes to go. So let's get after it. We'll just time lapse this whole scenario. That way it won't be so boring. Too bad you don't have smell-o-vision. Man, you can really smell the nasty coming out of the coolant system. I don't know what's in there, but I think I figured out why we've got an issue here with that shooting this coolant line off. This line right here is almost crimped completely shut. I don't think I noticed that. I mean, Ryan probably didn't notice that when we first started, when he started having problems with this, because he blew this line. But that must have happened, that line blowing must have happened because of this. So we need a set, or at least we need a set of coolant lines. Just get a set of coolant lines on here, provided that there's not anything major wrong. That's it without the radiator on it, and I'm fixing to get into the top here, but I'm going to go ahead and pull the intake and exhaust off and get this serpentine built off and all that kind of good stuff. Disturbing things. I mean, this vehicle had problems with it when I got it, and I've done a bunch of work to it to repair these issues, and I don't know, you can't quite see it, but there is a repair right here that I did, because there was a crack on the that part of the jacket, and fortunately it was just on the outside. So the other problem I found when I pulled this off is that this was a broken piece that obviously somebody put back on. You can see how dark that is. So it has been broken and sucking in, what looks like grease, because a fresh brake would be a shiny cast aluminum look. So that's going to have to be repaired. It's really dirty on the inside of this, which is kind of a weird, I don't know what the deal is. Why is that so dirty? It shouldn't be, because I don't see any problem with the intake box. Could be just when it blew up, but I don't think so. I think it needs to be, I need to examine it. So right now I'm finishing up removing the head. I've got to finish taking all the rockers and stuff off. I started putting them over there. And the biggest problem I'm having is I don't have this tool. I'm going to pick that up tomorrow, God willing, and pull that off because it's just in the way. I'm going to go ahead and pull all these injectors out and soak them and get them kind of cleaned up. They don't look terrible, but it kind of looks like I need some some more tip seals, and the more I look at it, the more carbonized they look, like they're not sealing. You know, this little gasket's not sealing well or something, so I'm going to look that up. I've never dealt with these kind of injectors, but I would think I could, you know, swap out a seal in the front. I don't know. We'll find out. Other than that, it's just basically now I'm down to, you've seen how hard it was to get all the bolts off of this thing, and it would not come free without taking these bottom ones out. And I know it's just because it was, you know, it's been heated onto this thing basically. But one of the other things that bothers me is how much what looks like it had been leaking around the exhaust port. It's probably just from the head gasket or the valve cover gasket, because when you look at it, it's pretty caked up around it. So I'm pretty sure valve cover gasket was leaking and causing a lot of that. But there's some gunk on the inside too. Lots of carbon and stuff in there. So I'm just wondering what it's going to look like when I get that head off there. Hopefully there's not anything major wrong with it. I don't really want to replace it. I'll do it. It's my son's, you know, pocketbook. That's the thing. I don't want him putting too much money into this thing, but it's like he said, you don't have much of a choice. You can't afford anything nowadays, and what they have is junk anyway, so you might as well fix it. Wow. Well, let the fun begin. I need to put some gloves on so I can get a better grip. That's pretty slippery. Get it tore down and see what's really going on in this motor. Somebody didn't take too good care of it. Golly, this is heavy. I can't believe what's in this motor, how dirty it is. Whatever it is, gotta get cleaned out because it is nasty. There's so much mud inside of the motor. It's like there's a gaping hole that dirt has been just going into the coolant. It makes no sense to me. But that's what was left. It's definitely clay. It's just like the clay we have out here. A chunk of clay fell out of where it had settled in one of the hoses. Another thing I wanted to show you is look at this. This water pump has no blades. I don't understand how that's possible unless there's something floating around in there and this got hung up on it. The next thing I need to look at is what looks like to be a crack in this thing. See that? Yep, there's a big old crack right there. And it was blowing out the top here for sure. The crack hasn't gotten any farther, but it did get bigger, so this thing's been getting overheating. And you can see where, like, what I did is drilled back in here where the crack ended so it would stop. And it looks to me like it's been overheated enough that it's cracked through the repair that I did. This one might have been leaking. And it looks like that on the head too. It looks kind of like it's gotten fluid inside of it and cooked it. There's a little bit of scoring, like just from normal wear. I don't think there's any real problem with the pistons. I think the biggest problem is going to be that water jacket. I'm probably going to need to figure out how to repair that a little bit better. At least we know that it was definitely a head gasket. I think the reason why that failed is because of the heat problem. Because he overheated this thing quite a few times. I think it would have survived fine if it wasn't for that. It's just this jacket side. I'm going to knock off this repair I did in the past when I first got it. Man, that JB Weld's tough stuff, man. Good thing is I did stop the crack. I just need to get a better seal on that. I'm thinking about, seriously thinking about welding it. That's the old repair. I think I'm going to come back and tack some welds onto that. And after I clean it up some more, grind it down flush and see what happens. I'm not worried about this. This part needs to be ground down flush. I'm going to heat the crap out of this thing and then weld it and then let it cool real slow and see what happens. It's got to be better than JB Weld. Okay, let's take a look at this head. See, there's some what looks like water accumulation right in here, which this one was not showing hardly any compression. This one had some, but it was really low, and this has a lot of residue in it from, it looks like, you know, it's been cooking water. This one too. I mean, they all don't look good. That's the thing. This one here, look at all this. And what's interesting about it is you've got this stuff here in between the cylinders. So yeah, it doesn't look good. I'm going to clean this up and clean up the pistons. Put a new head gasket on there, and I'll bet you it'll be fine. After I repair our little leak, when I get all that cleaned up, I'll be able to check for any cracks. But honestly, I just think it blew a head gasket. Alrighty, it's cleaned up about as good as I want to do it. I might need to go back over it with some brake cleaner or something, but I definitely can't do anything until I get everything I need to put it all back together. There's just no doubt it's going to get dirt on it because it is so stinking windy.